I know that guy. I know that photo. That looks super familiar.
But yeah, so thank you for taking the time to talk to toofab.
Yeah.
We just noticed that
Boy,
the 10-year anniversary was coming up for Judas the song and the music video.
yeah.
And
That's
we
so
just wanted
crazy.
to check back in with you.
Yeah, man. It's been I just the other day for Easter, I was just kind of like thinking back, like, wow, 10 years came by that fast. And it feels like yesterday we did that, It was just kind of strange.
No, I guess first off, I just, wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about how the video did come to you. I know you said your manager just called and said Gaga wanted you, which is a wild thing, I'm sure, to hear. But what was your initial reaction to that? And did you ever find out maybe what it was about you that she was interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing was like when I got the call, it was sort of like sitting there with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, just sitting on the couch, kind of like, so Gaga knows who I am, really? Like it just kind of just was like it just so random. And it turned out that and when I got to know her and got to know the team a little bit, I guess she had saw me in a film. She was watching a film that I did called Pride and Glory.
Mm.
I think it was Pride and Glory. And I had like this small part in it. And I think that part, what I did in that film, coupled with the idea that she was kind of like creating the storyboards and I guess the creative concept for Judas, just sort of like synchronously, it just happened that way. And
Mm.
I believe, and I don't want to put words in her mouth or anything, but I do believe she was watching Walking Dead at the time, because I think that was like the first season for
Yeah, it was
Norman at
right
the time.
after the premiere, I think was October 2010, and this would have been 2011.
Exactly. So he was already finishing the first season, or still doing it, or it was still airing for that matter. And she was already a fan of the show and what Norman was doing. So,
Mm.
yeah, so it was just kind of like, and I believe Norman and we talked, we was like, man, this is really cool. Like, we were both like, kind of like shocked, like, great, like, this is going to be fun, and we didn't think much of it. And I do remember meeting, Nicola Formichetti, who's her creative director,
Mhm.
and he was just excited to. I guess he looked at me like a canvas. He was like, "Oh, what I want to do." You know what I mean? But he was
Yeah.
very nonchalant about it. It was almost like excited, but at the same time, like, "Come with me," And then I'll go follow him, and then he just starts like throwing things on me. He's like, "What does this look like? What does this look like? Let's just try this." And he's like, "I'm gonna put this crown on you," and then I'm like, "This is nuts. This is."
And I mean, what was the original concept as it was explained to you, I guess, at the start?
I think for me, it was this idea of replaying the scene in the Bible where Jesus kisses Judas, knowing that he's going to betray him, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess the whole concept was going to be this idea of having Jesus and Judas and her affection for Jesus and also her affection for Judas, but she wanted to do a twist on it, and so she wanted this edge to it, and create like this biker gang sort of thing. And I think with them, they were worried about how I would feel about a kiss,
Mm.
with Norman. And so I was like, well, what kind of kiss are we talking about? You know what I
Right.
mean?
What are
So
we saying about
like,
Jesus and
what
Judas?
what are we gonna what are we thinking? And so uh, they was like, we don't know yet. We'll figure it out. I mean, it's nothing serious. And I was like, cool, yeah. And so we got on set, and so what I loved about it, and I believe Lorianne Gibson was also a part of the creative team, was like this idea of like um, honoring the text, honoring sort of like the ramifications of what that meant in the
Mhm.
Bible, but at the same time, like um, I guess letting that lead, the story of what she wanted to say in the song. And so and so there was this like a need to like want to at least protect the integrity of the story itself, even though you want to do your thing creatively, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that, you know, I think Norman and I were really excited about, because, you know, that kind of made, you know, the little the actor inside us kind of get excited about, you know what I mean? So when we're like, you know, when they say, yeah, action, and we're like walking towards each other and we see each other, and it's like this melodrama of like Judas and Jesus and whatnot. It's like, that was a lot of fun.
And I know I was reading just a little about it, and you know, Lorian Gibson co-directed the video, and she said she was worried about being struck down by God himself over some of the original ideas that I think didn't make the cut for the video. But you know, were you nervous to be playing Jesus, you know, knowing the backlash that comes with religious imagery in music videos? Obviously, nothing new. It's still something we're still seeing today.
It did cross my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, because, you know, I know how creative she is, you know, and I know that she definitely wants to, like, you know, create new thresholds and just push her creativity to new heights. And so it did worry me, you know, and it, at the time though, I wasn't so, I believed in, you know, I was a believer, but not like the way I am today. You know what I mean? So before, I was just worried more about like what it looked like in terms of me creating the character, or just being that for her. And also, like, I think what she would need from me in terms of what she wanted in a Jesus, you know? And so I kind of just blindly like just dove into it and just allowed them to steer me, you know, because I wanted to give them exactly what they wanted in terms of their creativity. And I tried not to think about like, I'm playing Jesus, this is a big deal. Like, you know, I really just leaned into like, which direction are we headed, and steer me there. So that way I'm where you want me to be. And then if I'm in that place, then I can play, you know, then I can, you know, just go. Right. And I think at some point, like the one time I did get nervous was I was hearing the rumblings from the creative team, like while we were shooting, like, hey, so we're thinking that Jesus might have like a moment, you know, to talk to the crowd and do that kind of thing. And I was like, but then my heart started fluttering, like, ooh, okay, man. So what is Jesus gonna say? Like, what does that mean? Whoa. So I was just kind of like nervous, but that time never came. And so I was just like, great.
And you know, you mentioned your, I guess, ideology has changed a little bit since you filmed it. Do you think you would approach it differently now, or do you think you would?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I'd be way more prepared now.
Yeah.
I feel like now I'd have so much I would just go into so many other places with that character, do so many things. Now that I have a full understanding of who Christ is and, you know, what that means to me. So, oh man, I would have so much fun playing that. 100%. We should just do another Judas remix and
right,
bring
part two.
Yeah.
And you know, what were your first interactions with Gaga herself like? You know, after you get through all the managers and you're actually talking with her, whether it's on set or beforehand.
It was consummate professional, someone who cared about artists, someone who cared about acting and the craft and the work. She really seemed like a student of the work, you know, and someone who really loves cinema. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting part about her is like, I think people don't realize how much of a student in terms of, you know, film and music and just art, you know, that she really does love. And I think what struck me is like, first, how humble she is. She's extremely humble, you know, and also that she wants to see other people succeed and win. And, you know, I do remember her saying, man, I think you guys are awesome and talented. And I really hope that this video helps you guys and, you know, pushes you guys further. Like, it was this constant, like, I want you guys to like succeed in this and to find success in this, you know? And so that meant a lot to me for someone at her level to just say, I want my platform to also benefit you, you know? And I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person she is, because, you know, that meant a lot, you know? And so it's the reason why I'm talking to you, you know what I mean? It's kind of like her platform definitely, you know, helps others. And I think that's the blessing in it. So, so that's what really struck me whenever I talked with her. She was very gracious. She, you know, was open to all the ideas that we brought up. You know, was never like upset about anything, you know, in terms of like when things couldn't happen or whatever. They had asked me, for example, if could I ride the motorcycle, and they knew that I had did a film called Biker Boys many, many years ago, and felt like, well, since you did that film, maybe you could. And I'm like, well, it's a movie, and I only did a little bit of riding, you know, it was a stunt devil, so. And so the fact that they wanted me to have Gaga on the back of the bike, I'm like, there is no way I'm gonna have the biggest pop star on the planet on the back of a bike with me when I'm nowhere near good.
Yeah,
So,
I don't blame you for that.
yeah,
I wouldn't want that responsibility either.
would not want that responsibility. So, you know, it was just, you know, just always humble, just cool, like, let's figure it out. And so my interactions with her were always positive, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you know, did you think that this video did bring maybe new opportunities to you after the fact? I don't know. Did you notice any sort of shift or?
Well, I did notice that there's so many people that remember it, you know, and I think on social media, you know, there's always like, you know, folks who tag me or Instagram it, or, you know, and just, you know, I guess it's been sort of like this, it's taken on a life of its own in terms of the song and the video. And so, you know, I'm nonstop. Even folks in the industry and, you know, peers and stuff are just so in love with the song. And actually, I think that the thing that's interesting is that people don't realize it's me. So it's this thing of like, wait, I didn't know, that's insane. That was you. I couldn't put it. Now I am, and it's blowing me away. So it's always that reaction, which is fun.
And you know, how did it feel once you did get on set and you got to put the full costume on? You know, you have the crown on. I just imagine that's got to be a surreal kind of feeling.
It was pretty trippy. I'm not gonna lie, it was trippy, and it was, you know, like being on set with everyone, and sort of like everyone just kind of like conforming to the characters, and just like, you know, like Norman was like the badass, you know what I mean? He was Judas, he was the rebel, he was like doing him, and he just walked with so much swag. And so people kind of like, you know, kind of cling to him in that sort of way, and became a follower for him in that regard. And then I'm sort of like, people just kind of created like this pathway for me, just in terms of the characters and just being on set. That energy sort of like was being reciprocated, you know? And so like being in that world, and that vibe, it was surreal. And I love that everyone, including the creative team, were like down to play in that idea of it, you know? And I think that's what made Norman and I excited, because it was kind of like, man, this is coming out pretty cool, like really going for it, you know, in our own way, in our own creative way, you know? And so it just felt like, man, you know, to play this kind of character, like for me, it was more like, I tried not to focus on the idea of like Jesus, but more like the relationship that Jesus has with Lady Gaga, right? And so that's what I care more about. And I think it resonated, you know, you know, it just went, because as soon as I put the clothes on, man, it was just like, and the reaction I got from everyone on set, you know, was just kind of like, holy smokes, you know? And I think everyone was just in love with what Nicola was doing at the time. And, you know, that guy is so iconic with what he does. So And like I said, he did it so nonchalant, like he was just throwing stuff on me, just trying things like, no, 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 let's not do that. Let's do this. No, no, he has to wear a leather jacket, no shirt underneath. Let's, you know, and just, it was just incredible, you know, and then he did my hair and, you know, he's like, I want you to do the braids. And then I want the crap, you know, he was just amazing. He was in his zone, you know, and
it's a cool look. Everyone looks so good in that video.
Sure. No, for sure. Top to bottom, top to bottom.
And you know, before the song, the video even like came out, there was already like controversy and backlash, even before people had even seen it.
Yes.
I'm just curious for you, when the video actually did drop, what was the reception like? Did you kind of get both sides of the coin for how people were reacting to it?
You know, I think people, if I remember correctly, I think certain people kind of felt a little kind of way about it a little bit, but it wasn't a huge backlash. Like I could be wrong, but I don't think it was that bad. You know,
no, there were like a couple Christian groups, I think, that were more mad beforehand. And then once they saw it, they were like, it's not that bad. It's what it is. Exactly. I think overseas, there were other countries that maybe had a little more of a problem with it, but I'm just, but curious if you saw any of that firsthand yourself, or was it more of the thankful praise side of it, of things?
So. I think I saw more people enjoy it, you know. I think more people were just like, wow, this is really incredible. And I think the song resonated the longer it was out, you know. I think more people started to appreciate it more and more. And so I didn't see the backlash as much. I think that was Lori Ann Gibson and Gaga and the other, you know, the other team members just making sure that there was still integrity to the text and, you know, the Bible and stuff. So yeah.
And I mean, I guess overall, what does stand out the most for you when you do look back at that whole experience now? What about it really has stuck with you through the years since?
I think, you know, I think it's that, right? It's the idea of that photo you have behind you, you know. It's just like this idea of like, you know, me playing Jesus with, you know, Lady Gaga and, you know, and a song about Judas and, you know, what that means to the fans and how they still care about it to this day, right? I mean, you know, her fans are very loyal. They love her creativity and they appreciate what she puts into her art, you know, and to this day, I mean, I think, you know, all those components kind of factor into the idea that, you know, this video still speaks volumes and they still care and people, you know, celebrate it every year, really, because I get hit up every year about it, you know, so.
Right, the Gaga fans, I think they will celebrate every anniversary they can.
For sure, for sure. And I'm constantly like, they're discovering me every year, like, oh, I didn't know, you know. It's just kind of like they're putting it together. So yeah, I think for me it's just kind of like, you know, just like shaking my head saying I can't believe that happened.
And lastly, is there a message for the fans that will once again be celebrating the anniversary again this year and probably adding a few more million views to that YouTube link?
For sure. No, just to say thank you for watching and to celebrate it, and, you know, and thanks for showing me love and, you know, appreciating what I did with the video and what I had to offer it. And I just appreciate the love because it means a lot.